Hey everybody, I promised I'd get on more, so here we are. I noticing kind of a new trend where it seems like our generation got the skills given to us by our grandparents, and then, or we didn't at all. And then there's a younger generation, like my oldest son's age, in their mid-20s, that got no skills, nothing. And now with the current things that are going on in the world, these skills are looking more and more needed or appealing or whatever to that generation. So they're looking for help. So I got to talk to a newbie today, and she's a young mom and wanting to start this journey, but not knowing where to start. So I realized that there's a lot of people in that position. Where do you start with everything? So, yeah, where do we start? Um, let's see. How much land do you have? Do you have a 10 by 10 in your backyard and that's all you have? You're in an apartment or a townhouse or whatever. Or do you have 20 acres, 100 acres? If you got that much, you probably already have some basics, because that's a huge jump to jump into with no background skills. But start with what you can. So say you have a half an acre. Great. You want to do a garden. Start with container gardens. Until you know your property, until you know where's the best location for the garden, start with a container garden. That way you can move next year. That's what we did. We're on our first year of the property. I thought I had a good garden space. I know where to put my garden. Thought it was a good space. I put it up there. Goats decided to let me know, no, it is not a good space. And I now need to reinforce, shrink a little bit. I bit off more than I could chew. Not more than the goats could chew, but more than I could. So I'm going to downsize. I'm going to move the location to a better, it was great sun, but it was like too strong a sun. So we're going to move it into a better location that now that I'm able to watch a full summer and really pay attention, I picked the wrong spot. So having container gardens is great. Now you've decided you want to do a container garden. Don't jump in and grow 100 things that first summer. I always say, have a 5-year plan for your property. So this year isn't going to be everything you want, but look at it in 5 years. Those fruit trees aren't going to be perfect if you plant them 5 years from now. If you plant them now, they're still going to be little, but in 5 years, they'll be able to feed, you'll be able to can, all of that with it. So have a 5-year plan. Where in 5 years do you want it to look? So start your garden out not with 100 things, unless you can grow 100 things and you know you can. Start with 5. What are your basics that you cook that you eat in the season that you can grow? So like we're coming into winter. Potatoes, carrots, broccoli, Swiss chard. There's a couple other things. That's something you can grow this time of year. And great, I've got fruit trees in pots that in my 5-year plan will eventually be on the property and be massive trees. Right now, I can bring them in for winter, throw them in the greenhouse. That way I don't have to do all the, draping and keeping them warm over winter and worrying about it. But your 5-year plan. And then at the end of your 5 years, you every year add a new veggie to it, a new couple veggies. By the 5 years, you'll be growing all the things you need that you eat and growing them well. And then animals. Do you want animals just for product, like milk, or to help clearing the weeds, or do you want animals that are going to eventually fill your freezer? How much is your space? Half acre. You're not going to have a cow. You're not going to have goats, but you could have rabbits, you could have chickens, you could have ducks. Chickens, do you want meat chickens? Are you going to butcher them? That's a 10-week commitment, 12-week commitment at most. Or are you having egg layers where you're going to have an established flock that every 3 years you're going to, add new blood to that you have eggs from? How many eggs do you need? Do you need enough just to feed you and your husband and your child, or do you need enough to feed a family of 5 like I do? That's going to change your number of how many chickens you have. We do the ducks for eggs and meat. We do our chickens for eggs. Our goats give us milk, and then all the dairy products from there. We do beef and the bigger animals out of my family's property because it's bigger and it's got the whole shop for butchering and all that. And then, are you doing it yourself? Are you doing it by yourself, or are you doing it and you have help? Like, my husband works. He works a lot, long hours in the kitchen. So I don't have that instant help here. I have kids. All my boys help. But I'm kind of the solo leader right now. So do I have help? How much am I taking on that I feel responsible for? Can I handle that? Once you've covered those, then you have a starting point. What are we going to grow? Where are we going to grow it? How are we going to produce it? And then while you're growing it, you study, how do I preserve it? Do I freeze it? Do I dehydrate it? Do I can it? Do I turn it into a product? We dry things and turn it into seasoning. We dehydrate, we freeze dry, we can, we freeze. There's multiple levels of that, and where do I do it? That takes I have a whole room for my stockpile, all my extras, but some people don't. Are you putting it in a closet? Well, that's going to depend, the size that you have to store depends on how much you're able to preserve. Think about all of that when starting off, and there's that 5-year plan. Right now, you might only be able to put some in a linen closet, but in 5 years, will you be able to build a shed? Will you be able to build, enclose the carport? Where are we going to can? In your kitchen? Summer here is 110 or more. Am I canning in my kitchen? No. Am I canning in an outdoor kitchen that I built? Yes. Am I doing things like that in 5 years will make this streamlined and something you don't even have to think about? Is it all perfect right now? No. Is it all set up right now? No. Does it have to be? No. Because my 5-year plan in my head, this homestead is amazing. It's self-sufficient and I never have to leave it. But it's going to take 5 years of hard work to get us to that point. But it starts with today, day one, and deciding what's the first step. We lucked out. We had the animals with us. They moved to the property. Now we're set. Then the food, but where to start when you first start? First step, start with the garden. Where are you going to grow food? Where are you going to bring life into the property? After that, it kind of snowballs. Add a couple chickens, add a fruit tree, and every year you add a little bit more. Within 5 years, you've got it. You've got a little slice of heaven, and it's all started with one step. I hope that helped. I hope that gives us some talking points. If you've got more questions, or if I missed something, trying to rush through, I forgot something, maybe down there. Okay?